Do problems seem to be piling up in your life? Do you find yourself fixing one problem only to have to fix another? I often find myself in the same situation. And in this video, I'm going to share with you what I do when that happens and how you can get yourself out of this cycle. Today's video is about having a mentality of growth. Now, I wanted to start with the story of Blockbuster. In case you're too young, let me explain what a Blockbuster store is. Now, before streaming movies was a thing, you actually had to go to a store to rent a physical copy of the movie you wanted. You rented it for a week, and if you're late in returning it, there are a ton of late fees attached to it. Now, on top of that, there's a limited number of movies in each store, and so if they're all rented out, you're out of luck. And so those were troubling times, but these Blockbusters were everywhere. In 2004, there were 9,000 Blockbusters across the US. So the question is, when's the last time you saw a Blockbuster? And what happened to all of them? This leads us to the story of the fall of Blockbuster and the rise of Netflix. Now, in 1985, Blockbuster was created. They used an in-person store model, which we just talked about, that had a large dependency on late fees for revenue. In 1997, the founder of Netflix was outraged after being charged $40 in late fees and decided to start Netflix. Netflix at the time had no streaming platform. Instead, they had a subscription service which delivered the movies to you. The best part? No late fees. Now, in 2000, Netflix tried to partner with Blockbuster, but due to Blockbuster's size, they declined. They didn't think a partnership with Netflix could benefit them, which is understandable because in 2004, Blockbuster reached its peak worth over $6 billion. Unfortunately for Blockbuster, it all went downhill from there. Between 2004 and 2008, Blockbuster began to see the future coming. Companies with innovative methods began to threaten Blockbuster. The company Redbox allowed you to rent movies for $1 a day from a kiosk, and Netflix delivery model with no late fees was only the beginning. In 2007, Netflix started their online streaming platform. Blockbuster, realizing the threats were real, tried to adjust, but it was too late. They attempted to discontinue late fees, which cost them $200 million, and started a digital platform which cost them another $200 million. The changes came too late. In 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy, and by 2017, Netflix had become the new champ, worth over $9.6 billion. To think that Blockbuster went from the largest rental company to being non-existent within 8 years is just crazy to me. But this story is nothing new. Giant companies since the beginning have come and gone. Toys R Us used to have 1,600 stores at a time. BlackBerry accounted for 50% of cell phones in the US. And Kodak, they had over 90% of film sales and 85% of camera sales in the US. But what happened to all these companies? Did they intentionally run themselves out of business? Did they stop wanting to make money? Of course not. They never stopped wanting to succeed, but they just lost sight of how to do it. And amazingly enough, I find myself doing the exact same thing in my personal life. Just not long ago, I thought I was living the good life. I had delicious dinners, a clean house, and plenty of time to relax. But I felt like overnight, everything changed. No dinners, a messy home with toys all over the place, and no time to relax. I thought about it a lot, and I just couldn't see how I went from my good life to my not-so-good life overnight. The problem was my newborn. He used to be like a sack of potatoes, but he had become a toddler who was a mischievous monkey. As a newborn, he couldn't walk, didn't need much attention, and he only drank milk. But as a toddler, he was going everywhere he shouldn't, he only wanted to eat fruit, and apparently he didn't think he needed to sleep anymore. And so they were really, really difficult times. But as difficult as he became, when I really thought about it, I realized he wasn't the real problem. The real problem was that things didn't change overnight. but I stopped looking to improve and grow. I was only focused on survival. My whole approach to life was setting me up for my eventual not-so-good life. So, what's wrong with this approach to life? Think about this. Conditions are always changing. If you aren't making changes to adjust, your solutions, just like these companies, will become outdated. What begins to happen, usually without you knowing it, is you start seeing problems as normal or acceptable pains in life. Eventually, you don't even see them as problems, you just see them as the way things are. You aren't open to change or doing things differently because, well, in your mind, there are no problems and life isn't changing. So why should you? Eventually, and unfortunately, the only thing that can bring you to change is pain and stress. Now, luckily, unlike bankrupt companies, we can actually bounce back relatively quickly as long as we are willing. The solution is to begin changing our mentality, and we can start doing this immediately by looking each day for ways to improve. It doesn't have to be anything big or incredible, just small changes to make small improvements. For instance, I began by setting a meal schedule so my wife and I could better make dinner. When dinner time came, we knew exactly what we were cooking and had food prepped and ready to go. Next, we started doing a toy rotation so it was easier to clean and pick up my son's toys. And lastly, I started baby-proofing my whole downstairs so I didn't have to worry about my son, breaking something or hurting himself. The result? I was able to get my good life back. Now, this doesn't mean my life was perfect or that everything always ran smoothly, but there is a safety in maintaining a mentality of growth, not just for companies, but for our personal lives as well. I find it's good every once in a while to check to see if I have this mentality of growth. I ask myself simple questions like, what am I trying to improve in my life right now? What are some problems I need solved? What changes have I recently made to make my life easier or happier? If I can't answer these questions, I know, and now you will know too, that it's time to start looking for improvements before I'm forced to make improvements because of pain. So, until next time, have fun with having a mentality of growth. Good luck.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to our channel for more content. We'll see you next time.